Let me take you on the journey on how this room went from our office to our guest bedroom. I started learning about interior design because I knew nothing, which you will see. We moved in with basically nothing, and we did not want to spend thousands of dollars to quickly put together a room just to say it was done. By realizing I could get things so much more affordably secondhand, I started to really enjoy the process of just improving and finding my own style. In past videos, I've shared some rooms that I considered finished. For all of our spaces, it has taken time, and this room has been no exception. I know this might not work for everyone because it can be tedious. Here you can see some of the things that I came in with. I had this little velvet bench with a little owl pillow. My husband had a guitar. I think the very first thing I ever bought secondhand was that little bookshelf in the corner, and I think I paid like $20 for it, not realizing that you could basically find something new for that amount. We were initially going to use the space as an office. You can see here the different iterations as an office that it had. All of the furniture in all of these pictures is secondhand as well. There came a point when we knew we would be working from home a lot more. Given that the other room was bigger and that we would use our office more often than a guest room, we decided to use the bigger room for our office and use this smaller room as a guest room. Let me share where we started though on the guest room journey. It started in the other room, but the pieces that started out there, some are still here, some are not. This amazing bed was a hand-me-down from my in-laws. It's a queen size bed, and we initially were using it in our primary bedroom, but then we decided that we wanted a king bed. We decided to keep the bed for our guest room. When we first moved in, I was just in a stage of just getting my hands on whatever I could find for free or for super cheap. And I always tried to go for neutral things and things that I thought were great value. If you've seen my first video, you'll recognize these restoration blue hardware chairs. I tried them in the dining room, and I also tried them in the guest room. You could see that they do not look very good. You can see in between the chairs, I had this little cocktail table that was super flimsy. I had gotten it for our wedding, and then that's where I started to learn, like, okay, I could find something better. But it was helpful to see that. You could also see this jute rug that I found. Again, I was just going for things that were in a warmer, neutral palette. I found this painting at the restore. I thought I would pull out colors from that painting for other decorative elements in the space. I found these curtains with the rods. The rods are also from West Elm. I bought them secondhand. They came with those drapes as well, and they were too short, and my grandma, she extended those. It was so valuable for me to see all of these things that were wrong, to see those blue chairs in the space, and to see, oh, that's just not a color direction that I want to go in. That's such a great lesson to be able to get affordably. When we decided to swap rooms, I decided to leave the curtains I already had here in this space because I liked them more than the ones I had found on Craigslist. I grew to not like those gray curtains. I still have them now, and I'll figure out what to do with the fabric. But for me personally, I've stopped trying to find my curtains and curtain rods secondhand, being limited to certain quantities available secondhand, to specific fabrics, and more importantly, the sizes available has just made buying curtains secondhand a headache that I just don't want to deal with anymore. These curtains and the rods behind me, I got from Target, and I got those I think in 2020. My grandma hemmed them for me, and they have worked just great. In spaces that are used more often, that I'm seeing and touching the fabric more, I really have become a fan of Pottery Barn curtains that I have managed to find both in the clearance section and in outlet stores. With that said, I do have some other curtains that I'll share with you later that I did buy secondhand. I'll probably have to make adjustments to those too. I had these nightstands because at the time I was like, oh, I think these nightstands work pretty well with the base of the bed frame. I got these lamps on Craigslist in 2018. I got the pair for $40. I believe they are from Target. Because this room was smaller, I couldn't bring the 9x12 jute rug I had in the other room, but I had initially bought the rug that I have in here today for our living room. I got this rug in 2018. It's an 8x10 wool rug from Crate and Barrel. I think I got it for $350, and I paid $40 for them to deliver it. I found it on Craigslist from someone who was selling this and a couple of other rugs that were basically new. I know I've mentioned lug before, but another option to consider is just asking the seller if they'd be willing to deliver it for you. And sometimes that ends up costing a lot less than using lug. I had this rug available sitting in the garage. I thought, I think this will work really great in this space because it ties in with the curtains that I have. It's very neutral. In 2020, I bought this piece of art with the intention of using it in our living room. I brought it home. I was so excited because I got it for the very low and random price of $39. And look at how big this piece is. I don't remember if I paid for delivery. I'll put it on the screen if I did. I was so excited to come home and put this up in the living room. My husband didn't like it. He liked what we had before more. But then I thought this could work with the other things that we have in this space. This piece then became the anchoring piece of the room and what defined the color palette of the space. The nightstands, the bed frame, all reflected colors that were in this painting. For any decision since then, they've all been centered around this piece. After getting this painting, one more piece of furniture that I wanted was a headboard. And you can see here, not having a headboard just made the lamp and the pillows look like they were floating in space. It didn't look very good. I had been looking for headboards for a while. I managed to find this West Elm velvet headboard. When we got it, we just kind of squeezed it in. So right now it's touching the wall, which I know it shouldn't be. So that's another project for another time. I got it because I thought the color was going to work really well with the other things that I had. It's in this very light, sandy, taupey color that I think is reflected in the painting. I thought it worked well with the curtains I already had, very similar, but a different texture. I got the headboard for such a steal. You're not going to believe me. I got it for $20. I got it from someone who really needed it gone. So that's another tip right there, is when I was getting started, I always looked for people who were moving because that's where I knew I had a really great chance of getting a good deal, because a lot of times people just wanted to get rid of things as quickly as possible. I ended up paying a lot more for delivery than the headboard. I paid about $100 to have it delivered. That brought my total cost to $120. I don't know the exact customizations that were selected for this headboard, but I see that by choosing velvet, it comes to around $400. That brings me to the more fun pieces that I was able to get more recently. We were using bedding that we had from before moving into the house. I was working with what we had. I saw someone selling this Pottery Barn duvet cover and pillow shams with the pillow inserts for $180. They said it cost them around $300. So I decided to make them an offer of $50. I tried to be as respectful and kind as possible. So I reached out with an offer of $50 and I didn't hear back, which I wasn't surprised about. But after about a week, I did hear back and they said that I could have it at the $50. It is in mint condition. I cleaned it really well before bringing it into the space, and now I have this 100% organic cotton percale duvet cover. I was so excited about this because it really allowed me to achieve a look that I was going for. Then this other fun styling piece that I have in here is this wooden tray. I've had this for a few years now. I paid $40 for this tray. The seller said that it cost them $300. I found one online that I think is the same one since the seller didn't know the brand. I saw that it was listed for $215. You could take that tray out, and then you could also, there's another tray underneath it that you could tilt up and down. So if you're reading or putting your laptop, you could change the angle. This has been such a fun and practical piece. I think it's beautiful. I've really enjoyed using this tray when we have guests over. Let me know if you'd like to see a video of the things that I like to do when hosting family and friends over our home. I really enjoy making our guests feel welcome and thinking through little details. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. I got this dresser in 2019 when we were using the other room as our guest room. This was a piece that at the time I had bought with some more confidence than some of the pieces that I was unsure about. I believe it's called the West Elm Niche Dresser. It's no longer available. I got it in 2019. The dresser cost $60 and delivery was $72. For a baseline comparison, the IKEA mall dresser currently retails for about $200. So at the time, that was my thought process. I could get a new IKEA dresser, or I could find something secondhand that I thought was better from a construction perspective. For $130 to get something that I know is very solid and sturdy. It does have dovetail joints. Overall in great condition. I liked that it was in the white. I thought it would give a lot of flexibility to where it could be used. So that was my thought process around this piece. Here I have this other table lamp. I believe it's called the Liza table lamp. I don't see that it's still available for sale today. This was also another piece that I negotiated. It did not come with this shade. It came with a different shade. I think the other shade was cracked. I remember that I had to buy a new shade for it. So I factored that into the price that I offered, and I think I got this shade for somewhere between $30 and $50 at Home Goods. I've had it since 2018 or 2019. I still have it today. It's something that I haven't gotten tired of, and it's been one of those pieces that I have been able to move from room to room as I change things around. Because it's a very neutral lamp, I've been able to really play around with in different spaces. You can probably see the pattern of me going for things that are very neutral. That might be boring to some people, but for me, it's a safe way of shopping that one, it either gives me more flexibility to move it around and try it in different spaces, or two, that I can have an easier time reselling it if I ultimately decide it doesn't work out for any of the spaces. And then I have this section, very minimal things here. I have some dried eucalyptus and some dried flowers here. I have just collected this eucalyptus over the last few years. When I get some fresh florals that has eucalyptus, then I leave that out to dry on a glass coffee table for a couple of days, and then I just pop it in here. So a low maintenance way of having something in here that can bring in some warmth. And I think the colors actually tie in nicely with the overall color palette that I have going on in here. And then I have this acrylic tissue holder. So similar to how I always look for things secondhand first, if I'm getting something on Amazon, I always see if it's available used first. And if I'm not in a rush, I will monitor to see if I can find it used at some point. That way I get a discount on the item. When shopping Amazon, that's something that I like to do. I initially just bought one of these, and then some were for sale on Amazon that were used, and little by little I have gotten enough for different rooms. Let me share the things that I've actually purchased new for this room. There's only one piece of furniture that we bought for this room new, and it's this bench that's behind me. I initially got this bench with the intention of using it in our office. Then when we moved things around, I thought that the colors worked well in the space. It does have some additional practical uses in here when people come over. Still has the tag on it. I got it for $130 at Home Goods, so probably one of the most expensive things I've purchased from Home Goods. I originally had this mirror in our kitchen. I'm still not sure if I want to use this mirror here. I have a full-length mirror that I found at the thrift store that I want to paint and I think use here instead. I do think it would look cute to have the full-length mirror here. Let me know what you think. Would you put a full-length mirror here, or should I keep this little one or remove it altogether? The bigger pieces that I bought new were this bench, this mirror, the curtains, and curtain rods. All of the furniture except this bench were purchased secondhand. The last detail I was really excited about for this bed were these little pillows. I only tried them for the first time yesterday when I was putting together the room, and I really like them. By bringing in this pillow in a different color, I thought it added more contrast. Let me share what I have planned for this room. After 5 years, we have updated our lighting, and now we have recessed lights in here. Before updating our lighting, we only had one center fixture with some, I think it was like milk glass, so barely any light was let in. I have to patch the walls, and then after doing that, I can decide if I want to do paint or wallpaper. Let me know what you think. I think that it will make the space feel so much more cozy by doing wallpaper. It will add some dimension and some texture. Lighting makes such a big impact in how we perceive color. Without light, you can't see color. Painting this room was something I held off on for so long because I knew we would be updating our lighting, so why bother on this space that isn't used as often? I painted other rooms, but this was one that wasn't priority until we did the lighting. We'll also be refinishing the floors and updating the baseboard. That's something that's coming up, not just for this room, but for basically all of the rooms at some point in the future, so stay tuned for that. I would like to do a video on lighting and how that really changes the space. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. I'll put some shots to show you what I mean, how different layers of lighting changes everything. I'd be so excited to share all the creative ways that I found to try to improve lighting in spaces when ceiling lights were very minimal. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really lets me know that this content is valuable to you. It's been so inspiring to see this community grow and getting to know you. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. I'll see you all next week.